Well, I get the privilege today of being with my friend Chris Archer, and I'm excited to get into the weeds of some real estate discussion. But I want to start with you as a child. I want to know about, you're a very unusual guy. I want to know how you were raised. I want to know, I literally have never met your parents, but I want to. I just am real curious. Give me a flavor of your childhood, Chris, and how that went, and siblings, and where, what, and how. Give me some influence type stuff. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I grew up about, where like Federal Way, Edgewood is.
Yeah.
South King County, unincorporated South King County.
Right.
Grew up there.
Yeah.
On Trout Lake. My parents still live there. And
on Trout Lake. Are there trout in the lake?
There's a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
A little bit. But yeah, I grew up there with my mom and my dad and my younger sister, who was 2 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny that you describe me like that, because I think for the most part, I feel like I had a pretty normal childhood, right?
Maybe that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the thing that's so rare these days is it seems like so many that I interview, it was anything but normal.
Yeah.
So your parents, tell me a little more about them.
Yeah. My mom, she went to law school.
Okay.
So she was an attorney at one point, but then switched over to like estate planning. So did a lot of estate planning for people. Mm-hmm. My dad, a blue collar guy, worked in a warehouse his whole life down in Kent, and just did that, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you have the attorney and the warehouse worker, and I think, it just kind of meshed well, right? Younger sister, we all played sports. We felt loved, comforted, safe. But where everything changed for me when I was 11 years old, my dad was involved in a really bad car accident where he almost died. And he was driving home from work, and a semi who had just got its steering corrected or worked on, he's just coming out of the shop, right? Well, the steering failed and crossed over the lanes of traffic and went like up onto my dad's truck. So when everyone got there, the first responders, as a first responder, when you get to a scene like that, you triage it, right? You go, okay, who's viable here? Mm-hmm. And they determined, based on my dad's wreckage, dead. Now we're going to go work on these other people, right? And so luckily, at some point, someone, I think it was a paramedic, reached his hand in my dad's wreckage and felt a pulse. And they go, oh, we got to get this guy out, right? So they get him out and fly him to Harborview, and that starts a multi-year rehab, right? And so up until that point, childhood, very normal, right? But 11, I was just old enough to really grasp and understand what was going on. And, it rocked our family, right? My dad was not the same person that I had known. My mom was doing everything she could to hold everything together and deal with everything. And I think, like I said, being in that age where I just really understood it, and having that going into those developmental years, it really shook me. And I think that really, at that point, changed me. So from that point, I kind of became like withdrawn, mad, angry, demotivated. Like prior to that, I was a really good student, I was caring, I was loving, and everything kind of flipped for me at that 180. And that carried on into high school and early adulthood. So,
wow. I mean, so much of this, by the way, I want people to realize that I write an outline of questions, but I purpose to not really want the answers until we're doing this, because the reason I'm just shocked is because if anyone to say, describe Chris, and they do, hey, you got to meet Chris and I'll tell them about you. I would describe the pre-11-year-old.
Yeah.
kind, smart, courteous, measured, just not that it's not justified, but the changed one after 11, the angry and I've never seen any of that. How did, now I'm fast forwarding. What made the switch back to this, the demeanor that I think everybody connects with and relates to now?
Well, I mean, like you said, everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about, right? Mm-hmm. So I still carry some of those demons with me, mm-hmm. and it's been a work in progress, mm-hmm. and it still is, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not that person or not as angry as I used to be, but I still battle some of those things. But mm-hmm. at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? Mm-hmm. You're in control of yourself, and I truly believe that. So I have a choice. I have these things I can deal with in a positive way, and I choose to do that.
Tell me practically, this has been many years now that your dad had this accident. Mm-hmm. Well, did he and has he recovered fully? Has he gotten full use of everything back? I mean, it sounds like he was that close to dead. So
he was,
yeah.
Yeah, so he is basically, 100% recovered, I would say. I think he's had some medical issues because of the accident. You can't necessarily trace it back to that, but when the human body gets rocked that hard with trauma, not only physically, but your brain endures, a lot of issues as well. And he's completely fine mentally now, but yeah, eventually, it was a long time, right? I mean, I remember him coming home from the hospital, just this, like, pins in his legs, right? It looked like I can't even describe it. Right?
Stuff sticking out.
Yeah, stuff sticking out, and just, I really admire him because he had to work hard to come back, right? But to answer your question, yeah, he's great. He's 71 this year, or 72. And yeah, he's still moving forward. So that's
amazing. Yeah. And the effect this had on your sister, I'm curious there.
I think, she was 8 or 9 at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember being mad at her because we went to the hospital initially to figure out what was going on. Then we got back, and she wasn't quite to the age where she could comprehend it, right? Mm-hmm. I remember her kind of like not taking it as seriously as I was, right? And I remember getting mad at her, like, but I think, she probably has some demons too from it, because it was a multi-year event, right? It wasn't just the accident. It was everything afterwards.
Right.
So, I think she probably deals with some things, but, she's,
I'm going back to, again, something you said, and I don't want to pass by it, but what an interesting combination, at least as you look at, sort of the surface of their professions, of your mom being an attorney, mm-hmm. your dad working in a warehouse, and yet somehow that really worked. Yeah. I want to underscore that. I think that there's a perception that wouldn't work. But I got to tell you, I've seen combinations like that, and it seems like almost an ingredient for it working to me.
Right.
It's counterintuitive in a sense, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just me, but everybody say, well, I want to be with someone that has the same kind of education and the same kind of likes and the same kind of this and the same. And I'm going, God, if they're the same, what, the opposite, I think sometimes, sure, similar basic core values and things, but I mean that they're like pistons, that one's covering the other. One handles things that the other doesn't. And did you experience that as a kid? Did you see them kind of work like pistons?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think more when I see a lot of people focus nowadays on like you said, I want someone to have the same education as me, or I really want someone to make a certain amount of money and this and that. And I think when you focus on those things and not focus on like the person and core values and beliefs and faith and really connecting with someone, that's where everything gets lost, right? And so I just think they connected. I mean, they've known each other since high school, and that's just the way it was, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's the same thing in my relationship, right? I never looked at Rochelle as, you know, what is she going to make? What education level does she have? It just, I love her because she's her, right? I think that's what makes things work.
Yeah. I agree with you. Chris, the fast forward, and it's your story to tell, but you have been a firefighter, a paramedic firefighter for...
Not a paramedic, just firefighter.
Firefighter. Yep. Okay, you're used to going on to scenes of triage, right?
Yeah.
Did any of the desire to get into that come out of this situation with your dad?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I can't even...
Just no connection.
No
of the
connection.
Dots there. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, because now that very scene that you described is the kind of thing you do regularly. It's your job, you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting when I go to those type of calls, it doesn't even trigger me back to what happened. I don't even think about it. I have a way of separating things in my mind, like when I'm on scene. You know, like there's a bunch of chaos. I'm able just to, like, everything kind of slows down for me, and I'm able to make quick decisions, but think through things. So,
well, that's what you want.
Right.
You want that guy on the site because, you know, it's all game on. Tell me about that. Tell me about what got you in. When did you join the fire department? When did you say this is what I want to do? Who was the influence, or what was the impetus that got you into that?
So, you know, after high school, I went to a couple quarters of community college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I was just kind of floating around. And my girlfriend at the time was going to Central Washington. So I said, oh, you know, it'd be a good idea to go over there and be with her. Somehow barely squeaked into Central, you know, with my grades. Went over there for a couple quarters. And I think it's important for me. I've always been, I want to learn things that are relevant to the goal I'm working towards. And that's always been kind of like the sticking point with me with college is like, well, at the time, I didn't even know what I wanted to major in, right? So I'm taking all these prereqs, and I remember sitting in an astronomy class, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
How is this consistent with what I want to be? AJ's laughing. I think everybody that sat in a college class at one time went, what the hell am I doing here?
But it really bugged me, right?
Yeah,
it's just like, it seems like a waste of time, right? And I think that's why I like about fire and real estate is, for the most part, anything I'm learning or gaining knowledge on is directly applicable to that, right?
Yeah.
But so, sitting in that class going, you know, what am I doing? But then I heard one of the other classmates say, you know what, I think I'm going to try to be a firefighter. And I thought, that sounds interesting, a firefighter. And to be honest with you, I didn't give it much research or thought. I just said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And so I dropped out. And I moved back to
better than astronomy.
Right. Yeah. Better than wasting time and money. Right.
Right.
So I moved back to the West Side. I started volunteering at a local fire department, and I started testing. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do. Right. There was something inside me that said, yeah, this is what you're doing. So I volunteered for 3 years at the local fire department, and the testing process, it used to be a lot more competitive than it is now, I think. But I volunteered, tested, and, you know, each test learned a little bit more about how to get further in the process, right? But eventually got hired in 2007. And that's kind of how that happened.
So tell me about the volunteer piece of this. I mean, is that something that you have to be approved for too, to say, I want to volunteer? Or do you just say, do you get paid to volunteer? Do you?
No. So so it was at the Pacific Fire Department, Pacific, Algona, Auburn, that area, right?
Okay.
And Pacific Fire Department is no longer there anymore. They got absorbed by Auburn. They're now Valley Regional Fire Authority. But I went down there, not too far from my house, and just inquired. And the process is, I think at the time you had to be 21. Well, I wasn't 21 yet, but they allowed me in. And, you know, when you're a volunteer, you kind of have to know what you're doing somewhat still, right? So you have to go through a volunteer academy, you know, get all the basics, learn what you're doing, you know, all the fundamentals of firefighting. So did that. And then you just kind of pick shifts every week, and you go in for night shifts. Because at the time, the day staff who were career firefighters were there. Well, they clock out at 6 p.m., and then you take over from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So
There's a full staff then as well, almost like the journeymen are there as well, but you join them in your volunteering in the evening, the late shift?
Yep, but they leave. They leave at 6 p.m. So it's us volunteers at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if you want a veteran firefighter to help you, you better get in a crash during the day.
Well, yeah, and to be honest with you, the volunteer setup, really, there's very few departments that do volunteers anymore.
I see.
Right? It's mainly career staff now, all professional. So
Okay. And did you get paid for the volunteer
so
position?
I was a volunteer. Then you can go up a step called a resident. And like you were assigned to a specific shift, and you show up on these days and you work and you're responsible for that shift, and you get a stipend. So, you know, I can't remember what it was, a couple $100 a month or something like that, right?
So you have to really, really have your sights set on wanting this, and this is it, and this pre-game show, you're just committed. I'm hearing 3 years of volunteering to get a job, to get hired is quite a commitment. I'm trying to think of anything else I've heard where even apprentice in like a electrical apprentice or something. You know, I mean, you're getting paid pretty well to learn, but here it's a stipend, and you've just got to be committed to it. Plus working all night long.
Yeah, then go into your regular job during the day, right? So, you know, some people are more skillful at interviewing than I was at the time. So, you know, some people take their first test. The test is a written, a physical, an interview, and then they can give you a conditional job offer. So some people take a test their first time and get hired, right? It just took me 3 years, you know, to figure it out. So
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's quite a commitment.
Yeah.
And so okay, so now full time in 2007.
Yeah.
And was that originally in Bellevue?
Originally down in Auburn, Valley Regional Fire Authority. I spent 11 months down there. Bellevue called because I took their test previously and said, hey, we're putting a class together, we're hiring. And, you know, when I was testing, I had my sights set on Bellevue. That's really where I wanted to end up. And when I got hired with Valley Regional, I just kind of forgot about it. You know, I was perfectly content and happy there. Great department, great people. But they called, and I said, well,
Yeah.
I think I got to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Wow. So give me like a typical, because I think I've got a rough understanding of this, but a typical work schedule for a fireman. You know, now you're in, you work for this city. What does a typical month look like?
Yeah. Well, it's funny to say because firefighters work probably about 8 to 10 days a month. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but I think it's the 24 and 48 hour shifts that really take its toll, right? It's the getting up at night that takes its toll, right? And so, for example, if I'm just following my straight shift, we do 48 on, 96 off. So 2 days on, 4 days off. Within that schedule, we have vacation days, holidays and things called a Kelly Day, which is basically just another day you get to take off. So if I don't have any vacation, holiday, or Kelly days, for example, if I started on Monday, I'd work Monday, Tuesday, I'd have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, go back Sunday, Monday, and just kind of repeats like that.
And the reason I want to clarify there is that although those are very intense days and you're exhausted and you could be working straight through, the 4 days off, I have been blessed to have quite a few students throughout the country who are firemen who seek another full career.
Yeah.
And I want you to segue into, where did real estate become that other career for you? That other, I've really got to know this and I'm going to dig in. When did that light bulb come on?
When I initially got hired in 2007, and throughout the first few years of my career, I noticed a trend with the guys who retired from the fire department who were comfortable and successful, and they all owned real estate. And so I was immediately intrigued by that. And, you know, I bought my first house at 25 and, you know, just nothing special, right? But I didn't really, other than buying that first house, I didn't really ever take the first steps, right? To like do something, like to use my time off to pursue this. It wasn't until, so my wife and I had our first daughter, and my wife was still working full time. Then we had our second daughter, and, you know, we both wanted my wife to be home. That was a goal of ours. You know, be home, be with the kids. We don't want to send our kids to daycare. We don't want to send our kids to after care school. We want to be at all their sporting events, their activities. We want to take care of our kids. We don't want someone else to. It's super important for us to do that. So at real estate has always been in the back of my mind, right? And so that's when I decided, you stop working, I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm going to start selling real estate.
So you got your license as well as this desire to start learning how to buy real estate.
Yes. Yes.
Was it initially, I'll get a license and have a supplement my income with commissions, or was the goal always to buy real estate?
Both. Both. Yeah. So got my license, started selling, and, you know, within that first few years, bought and sold a couple properties, held a couple properties, you know, conventionally. But it wasn't until really, I mean, can we talk about the hangar, the day at the hangar?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, and, you know, I did other courses and things like that, but I wasn't really getting the traction that I wanted, right, with the investing side. Because that's, I mean, I enjoy helping people buy and sell real estate, but the investing side is really what gets me going. I just think it's so much fun. It's so much more enjoyable to me. But I remember seeing a day at the hangar on Facebook.
On Facebook?
On deal
so nobody
structuring.
referred it or anything?
No. I was just...
Really? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
deal structuring,
You're like the only one that's
negotiation.
ever happened.
Seriously?
I'm serious. I've never heard that before.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Usually it's a student tells somebody about it, but
no one...
I should
yeah.
tell Ryan that his Facebook posts
Oh my God,
actually...
yeah.
No, I won't tell him. He'll want a raise.
Well, there was something about the way it was presented that I thought, wow, this seems intriguing and unique, right? And so I came to that day, and I sat there, and I listened, and I took it all in, and I thought, okay, wow, this is like a completely different way of looking at real estate acquisition, investing, negotiation, deal structuring, all of it. I don't understand it. I want to learn more, right?
That's a lot of people with that day. I think they get, it's like too much in one day, and they go, this is too hard. I've got to do something else.
Yeah.
But you're the opposite. You said, okay, there's something here and I need to know it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's the way you present things as well, right? I mean, and all the years of experience that you have, right? I remember my cousin, Aaron, remember he came with me?
I do.
I remember saying, him saying, can you imagine if you had a guy like Greg in your corner? And I thought, yeah, that's what I want, right? That's
right.
That's what I'm working towards. So we had the conversation after the day at the hangar and signed up for Power Players.
You know, I get asked a lot because, you know, people dial direct, and I appreciate it. You know, like, tell me about Power Players. What is Power Players? I hear all these people talk about Power Players, and you know what's so interesting, Chris? I'm being flat out honest. I've taught it 41 times, and to really be able to put it in a paragraph is really difficult for me. And I'll tell you a little backstory. Is that when I thought, okay, I'm committed to doing this. I'm committed to taking an entire university course and making it such that it would actually never leave somebody's life experience, that it would be permanent. I took classes from Dr. Shadow at the university. I never once took a note. I was so taken by what he said, I remembered it all. And I started trying to think, how could I do something in a short period of time that was such an experience that it became you. It became, you had it not just intellectually, not just with your left brain, but it was like who you became. You just knew it. And that challenge, it took a lot of years to write the outline that was Power Players. And half the time I would think of how to do it, and I would turn red myself. I would go, there's no way I would do that. I'm kind of an introvert. I know they'd never forget this, nor would I, but I wouldn't do it. How could I ask somebody to do it? I went to battle that way all the time through Power Players. But then as it would just sort of like, no, this is put that in the outline, like, oh my God. And it is an experience that gets the principles of acquisition, finance, negotiation, left and right brain. It's an experience that you don't forget, and you go do it.
Yeah.
You go do it. And then when you do it, then there is no turning back, because now it's real. It's not just something that you're trying, it's something that you've done, and the rest is history.
Right.
Then you just never look back.
Right.
You know, at least, so it's hard for me to describe it. I think there's something providential about the outline with the right TAs, with the right team teaching it. It can become a life experience that you never forget.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad I got the opportunity to have you a part of a Power Player program. But the real substance is, okay, now there's these tools. You've seen the case studies. You've believed, okay, this is, I can do it. I can see it. Now going and doing it.
Right.
Okay, let's pick it up there, because you've got this kind of the best of what I think a lot would think of the best of both worlds. You've got a career that you love. You're really good at it. It has all of the secure benefits of a job that it's not going away anytime soon. We need firemen, right? But here you have this whiteboard over here that says, oh, go create a wealth portfolio. Go help people with their desire to own real estate and build your own wealth portfolio. Right. So, like two worlds that get to live in your life.
Right.
Talk to me about the evolution of that real estate world and where it's really continuing to get real. And of course, one of the things in this outline, is that we're going to get into a couple deals that, you know, if done right, these deals, one leads to the next. There are multiple ways to monetize an opportunity.
Right.
So we'll get to those, but walk me through kind of the evolution of things post power players.
Yeah. Well, to go back to power players real quick, I think you hit on a couple important topics. Is for me, it was the switching from left to right brain, back and forth, back and forth. It was the intensity of it, which I really like. I felt like I would kind of, from the beginning, was back in like fire academy. And so, you know, it got me excited, right? You know, it's just like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the way it's going to be. These are the rules. Follow them or you can leave, right? I love that because, you know, you don't want people who are there that aren't serious, right?
Right.
So, and, you know, it's power players is really cool because you always have it at different parts of the country or the world even. I don't, you know, and people fly in from all over the country, right? And so just everything about that 3 or 4 days down there where I was in Tucson was just, I mean, it was magical for me. It was great. But then after power players, it's like, okay, wow. Like I understand the concepts more, right? It's a little bit like drinking out of a fire hose still. And now putting them into play, right? And then I think a few months shortly after that, we started working one-on-one, which has been just awesome. Just such a blessing.
Then it really gets intense, you know, because it's like, well, you're competitive. I'm competitive. We want deals happening that make sense for all parties.
Yeah.
The measure is, what are we doing with this?
Right.
So doing is now what we do. So let's go. We learn it.
Yeah.
We do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, wow. Well, I love that you love that. And you likened it to the fire academy, just like the intensity of it. One of the things I've also told people, just picking up on what you just said, is that it was by intention that power players would be so unusually different. This isn't a lecture. It's not a seminar. It's a life experience. Okay, that it's so unusual, but if designed correctly, every outline of every power players has not varied 1 minute in 41 times. Therefore, you go to a power players in Arizona, somebody else goes to a power players in Cabo, and although you weren't at the same 50 people at that event, you've been to the fire academy.
Right. Yeah,
You've been to the Navy SEAL training. I mean, you've all sat on the bottom of the pool, trying to get your mask on or whatever. You know, you've done the same thing. Therefore, in some way, you're intensely connected.
Right.
So a power player every week, Ryan gets a call and says, "Hey, Ryan, I'm headed to wherever, Austin or Raleigh or Tampa. Hey, give me the name of the power players there." And here you go. He shoots them the name, and the next thing you know, I get a picture of guy from Alaska is with 5 power players from Tampa, and you go, wow, well, somebody was traveling, and yet it's like they've known each other their whole life because we've been through this same intensive.
Right.
It's a language, which I also think that when you know that community better and better, everybody's helping each other.
Yeah.
Because they understand the language.
Right.
So anyway,
Well, to answer your question about the evolution of it, right?
Yes.
So really the evolution is Day at the Hangar, or now Day with Greg.
Yeah.
Power players. Yeah. One-on-one. Yeah. Right? Because I mean, you have taught me things. If I didn't have you after power players, if these birds flown in, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, right? You, like my cousin said, you need someone in your corner to guide you. It's super important, right? A mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I couldn't talk about real estate without A.B. Newman, Dr.
exactly.
Shadow. I mean, what the hell would I know?
Right.
I watched them. Their experience taught me. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I think it's maybe the joy. I should only hope for this, but because the jury's still out. But every parent raises their kids, and And done correctly, the kids, although they may not say it, a lot of who they are is what they learned from their parents, right?
Right.
Well, I look at my career as a real estate entrepreneur, and so much of who I am is because of these mentors' experience that they, no different than a 40-year veteran firefighter saying, hey, let me give you a little tip here.
Right.
That's about ready to do this. Do you see why? And you go, oh, okay. And then sure as hell it does it. And you go, oh, thank you for the heads up.
Right.
Well, this is where experience and that mentor role is. You can't get that experience without having a few floors crashing on your head.
Exactly.
You go, damn it. Okay. I didn't see that coming. Well, now I do. And that's the value. Or where opportunity was right there and people walk right by it and go, whoa, time out.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing? We're going to walk right by this,
Exactly.
So it's a privilege to be in that place. And I have a whole section upstairs in my office of books that have been written by power players.
Wow.
About who've become teachers.
Wow.
Who've written books on
nice.
How to do this. Isn't that every parent's dream to have their kids do better than them or go teach some of what they've been taught?
Right. Absolutely.
So, I went to a book signing 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And it was like another one for the shelf of power players who've written books on how to do real estate right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Pretty
really cool.
Let's get into a couple birds because I think that we're going to have to, in some ways, walk through this pretty slowly because, again, it's a language. And I think that the power players who are listening to this will go, oh, got it. But I think that what I've learned by talking with seasoned real estate brokers, and I kind of go through a deal structure and they look at you like I'm speaking Japanese. It's a learned perspective on opportunity.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with the easy one, not the 2-lot one? Let's start with just a simple one that is assigned and take it from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this house, this was actually not from like a bird that just flown in. This was a lady I've known that was connected through the fire department for many years. And I had always kept in contact with her. And, she has a place in Bellevue. And I know I think she had originally said that she was going to pass it down to her son or something, right? But always just stay in contact and touch base with her. Well, it comes to the point now where plans change, right? And she wants to sell. And her lot in Bellevue is, nice, flat, 10,000 square foot lot in a really good neighborhood in Bellevue.
So just for out-of-state people, Bellevue would sort of be like the Beverly Hills of the Seattle area, the greater Seattle area. It's a separate city, Bellevue, across the lake from Seattle. Yeah. But it's a really upscale, solid, very, very, very sought-after community.
It is. Bellevue has always kind of had that reputation. And, it has really good schools, lower taxes than most places, good public service. Right. And so, but Bellevue, what I have found from working there and now living there is, when people think of Bellevue, they think of downtown Bellevue, like the ritzy, all the high rises. But it's actually a pretty diverse city, right? You get out of that further east, kind of where I live, and there's a lot of neighborhoods with the 50s, 60s, ramblers, split levels, tri-levels. You wouldn't think you're in Bellevue, right? But it's very sought after just because of all those reasons I listed, right?
Yeah.
And so a big thing in Bellevue right now, and has been for many years, is, people buy homes and they'll scrape them and build a new home.
Right? build those 60s and 70s homes, really the value of the dirt is very valuable. So they'll scrape them and build a much newer, more beautiful home. Yeah.
Right. And, you have a lot of tech up there. So there's a lot of people with high incomes that want to be close to their jobs and are able to afford these $3 to $5 million homes. Right. So the demand is there.
Right. Yep.
So, this one is in a really great neighborhood. And, and like I said, it kind of came to the point where she wanted to sell, right? She needs to sell. She doesn't want to or need to move right away, which is conducive to a builder, right? Because, builders like to get something in contract and, have like a good, 6 to 12 month close so they can get all their entitlements, their permitting and everything done. So they're not carrying that loan cost, right? And so that's kind of what happened with this one is I put it under contract myself and I feel good about this one because this lady is getting a really, really good price for her house. Higher than the other comps, like the other builders that bought and scraped. And I'm able to assign it to a builder. And so I think we closed this one in June. And so, I collect a little assignment fee at the satisfaction of his feasibility, and I'll get the remaining when it closes. And then we agreed on a list back for the property.
Right. So that a very, very simple an assignment is simply that you have it under contract. You're assigning your purchase rights to the builder. He's going to have contingencies, and therefore you need to have contingencies in your assignment.
Yeah.
Right? And so you get an assignment fee.
Yep.
Fairly substantial assignment fee, but then you also get the listing of the new house that's going to be built, and in a rough price range of that $3 to $5 million price range is where they'll be building, and so that listing side commission could be $90 to $100 and some $1,000 on the listing side.
Yeah.
So here's a one bird with just 2 steps: an assignment fee and the list back. But that total package could easily be close to $200,000 of revenue, taxable revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's why I love something so simple is I think most everybody can understand that, although there are a lot of nuances in that and changing laws and all kinds of things around assignments. But one thing I want to just point out is that a big part of this is having a real estate license and being able to offer excellent listing services to a high-end builder. He doesn't just want anybody listing his beautiful new creation and representing him with this new property on the market. So you have to be that caliber of listing agent to demand that with your assignment. He's not just going to hand a listing to anybody. However, one listing like that and the assignment fee to hand him the product can constitute what many, many people make in a year. Matter of fact, that one deal is double the average annual income. When you think about it.
Yeah.
And to me, people say, oh, that just sounds unreal to me. How could that ever happen in my life? Well, it's the steps of getting educated to go be able to do that. Licensed properly, legitimately knowing what you're doing, finding a property and convincing somebody that you have the ability to take it from here to them getting a check.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You don't just fall into that. You have to position yourself and work hard to get those credentials, to find that opportunity, and to execute. But when you do, here's one payday on one deal that can constitute what most people make in 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, wow.
Yeah, it's very special, right? I mean, it's a very cool thing, and this is my first assignment I've ever done, and you coached me through it, right? Like we spent a lot of time. I mean, just walking through the steps. There was speed bumps that came up, hiccups. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? And going back to your point of being educated, but it's also the mentorship side too, right?
Well, and you can see in this, there's the technical side. Okay, here's a speed bump. What do we do with this? How do we write offers that draft each other, that follow each other's contingencies, all that. However, the right brain side of communication skills and people skills, because you have a seller that's a human being that just needs to know where we're going and believe in you that we're getting there, right? That's the agreement side of the transaction.
Right.
And that means understanding people and understanding what they need and their time frames and their attitudes coming into this and their propensities and all of this psychology of communication that goes with making anything come to fruition.
Right.
It's not just the technical stuff. It's that people side.
Right.
And people underestimate how important that is. Deals live and die by the skill set of communication and the ability to, just like you do in the fire department, you don't come onto a deal and go, oh my God, we've got an emergency, what are we gonna do?
Right.
That would freak everybody out.
Right.
They have to know that you've got this and everything's fine. Right. And here's what we're gonna do first. And here's how I want you to go with me here because this is the first step.
Right.
And your calmness and your competence, that's leadership. And people don't think of that in terms of doing a real estate deal, but it absolutely is a part of a real estate deal.
Right.
I mean, these people, when's the last time this lady sold her house?
Long time ago.
Right. Right. Sometimes it happens 2 or 3 times in a lifetime.
Right.
So this is not familiar territory.
Right.
And you navigated it just beautifully with her.
Well, and part of it is sometimes you have to get creative too, right? And you probably remember this, but she needed some money right away.
Now.
She needed it now. So what we did is I wrote her a check, non-refundable. I wrote her a check. And it says, in our agreement, it says, if I satisfy feasibility, that becomes part of non-refundable earnest money and we march towards closing. If I don't satisfy feasibility, you have the option to pay me back. Wait, it's been a while. Let me think about what it was. No, it was, if we don't satisfy feasibility, then I have the right to represent you to sell your house for a certain commission amount. Get my commission, and then on top of that, when the house closes, I get the money that I lend you back. And it was a good deal for her because it's interest-free money to her. I'm going to lend you this money, interest-free. You just have to pay me back when this house sells later, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of equity in the house, right?
Right.
That's not going to be an issue.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that creativity of how do you look at the situation where it is right now? I've seen people say, oh, I've got to sell my house. Okay, so where do you want to move? Oh, I don't know. Well, what kind of house do you want? Well, one just like this one. And you go, okay, so why are you selling again? They go, well, I need $10,000 for this. I've got $1 million house. But they don't know how to unlock it. Or they don't have a job, so they assume they can't get a loan. Right. Or all these things that you're listening.
Yeah.
And then you solve the puzzle.
Right.
Newman, I'm sure many have said this, but he in his very brash way with me, it probably went something like this. Anyhow, the deal is you got to shut up. You don't learn anything by talking. The greatest negotiating tool is shutting up and listening.
Totally. Yeah.
And I went, you think negotiating, you're talking.
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
shut up and listen.
Exactly.
Because they'll tell you what they need. They'll tell you the deal structure.
Right.
Or at least, it's when I leave a meeting, I always say, if I don't solve one thing, this deal won't happen. What is the one thing I've got to solve that they've told me loud and clear? And sometimes it's that you're not going to tear the house down. You're not going to tear the house down because I want to know that somebody's going to live in this beautiful house the way it is forevermore. Okay, if I say I'm going to tear the house down, that would kill the deal. They want to know that there's assurance that I won't do that.
Right.
Can I or can't I give them that?
Sure.
Sometimes it's, I need $10,000 to put a new engine in my car. That's why you're selling your house? Yes. So if I don't get that, you're not buying my house. But if you give me $10,000 somehow, some way, then go ahead, buy my house. You go, that makes no sense, but they will tell you what you got to do,
Right.
You listened to her. She had a need.
Right.
It was immediate.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. If I give you this money by earnest money and then I don't satisfy contingencies, now what? Well, let's think about it.
Right.
We'll call it a loan.
Yep.
And here's what we are going to agree on that will assure me that you're going to pay me back.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, the creativity of solving problems starts with listening. And you're a great listener.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's one bird and some simple tools. Let's go to this next one because it now sort of takes us to power players.
It does. Yeah.
It really, really does. So let's walk through that, and then I'm just gonna kind of underscore because this one's a little more complex. Let's start with this lady. Where did you meet this lady?
This lady I met, we call them birds, right? A bird flew in, and it's from a bird letter. You write a letter to someone, and they respond to it. Yeah, and that's what happened here. And it's funny because I remember driving by this house in the fire engine, going, "What is going on with that house?" Because it was like the house was on stilts, like it wasn't on a foundation. And I always wondered, what is going on here, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, she ends up calling. And so it's this older lady, and she is probably about 3/4 of the way through a short plat. And
explain a short plat for people.
Yeah, so basically a short plat is you have one parcel, and you go through the city to make it into two. One to two.
And it would have to have a minimum lot size to take one and turn it into two. So you can't just slice anything, but each lot would be still conforming to the zoning in the area.
Yeah. You can't take like a 6,000 square foot lot and make it into two in Bellevue, right?
Right.
But this lot was 23,400 square feet, and so meets that easily. And she had been dealing with the city on the short plat for about 3 years. And, she's older. She's a landlord. She has a lot of other rentals. She has passive income, She used to be a house mover, meaning that she had a company where she would pick up houses and move them from property to property. And that's how she accumulated a lot of her rentals. She told me a story about, I guess, when they built the third runway down at SeaTac,
she collected a lot of houses out of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pick them up, haul them somewhere. Yep.
Yeah, that's what she did.
Yep.
And so she saw my letter, and it's like, okay, I think it's time to sell. I'm done dealing with this, basically. So got in contact with me. I met her out at the property, the actual property, and we walked through it. And I think what's important is like when you meet these people, like like you're saying, like the psychology of it. And it's not psychology, as I'm also interested in these people, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just like talking numbers with her, right? I'm not talking about the property and this and that and, you know, what she wants for it. And I'm asking her about herself, her life. I'm trying to learn about her.
Old ladies have you ever met in your life that move houses?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, how did you get into this? What?
Right.
You know, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And I love this lady now that I've come to know her. Like
Yeah.
she's just great.
I love it.
She's no nonsense, you know, she's no bullshit.
I just love it.
You can tell she's got like a really kind heart, you know. She has 6 kids of her own, and she gets stuff done on her own. Like she doesn't need help from anyone, right? You know?
It doesn't sound like it if you're a house mover. She also owns a towing company and a paving company. No, I'm not kidding. But you know, it's like I can see her just get it done, you know?
Yeah. She's had other businesses too. She had something on Lake Washington, something with aviation. I can't remember what it was. She kind of lost me in the story, but I thought about you when she said it. But she's done a lot of things in her life, but one consistent thing over her life she's always been a landlord.
Yeah, right.
So meet her at the property and, you know, get to know her a little bit, talk about the property a little bit, and I say, you know, let me take everything in and let me get back to you with a proposal. Right? I never want to call them an offer. It's a proposal. Never a contract and agreement. Right? It's like these little things I've learned. And, you know, I know it's good to always meet people in their actual home where they live, but it wasn't the case with this. So I put together something and like a little like almost like a PowerPoint on my computer. And we met at the local Starbucks by the house. And I went through it with her. And I'll get into the details. But basically, she said, okay, let me think about it and get back to you. And she had another offer on the table as well, which was higher than mine, but more of a traditional sale, right? Conventional sale from another builder. And she got back to me and said, hey, you know, let's do this. So that's kind of the overview of how it happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
this is a piece of property. You know, the house that was on stilts. Stilts is kind of but it blocked up. It was a house that she had moved there from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of sitting there, but had not yet been sat down on a foundation. It was just waiting at that stage.
Right. So this house back in the day, I think came from Issaquah. And she moved it from Issaquah to this lot in Bellevue. And they positioned the house right in the middle of the lot, right? Well, now they're doing the short plat. And she goes, well, I need to move it again, right? I need to get it onto one side, right? And this is important to note during our conversation with negotiation. One of the things she said she was considering doing is completing the short plat, moving the house, renting out the house, and then once the short plat is completed, selling that lot. So she, you know, sell that cash, still have the passive income here.
And okay, and another note on this that I think is interesting is that this house that she has sitting there waiting to position and set down on one of the lots. Describe that house.
I think it's probably was built in the 50s, single-story rambler, probably about 1,800 square feet.
Right.
But needs some work. Needs a lot of work.
Well, and just that alone, this lot, what a builder would build in this area is a $3 million house, right?
Yep.
Or thereabouts.
Yep.
And to plant an 1,800-foot 50s Rambler that needs work on this lot is not doing the lot any favors, right?
Right.
I mean, I can see this is house movers. They grab a house because it's free somewhere. We don't want to wreck it, don't want to scrape it. and they move it to a lot. But this lot that has been sitting there for a while is worth way, way more than putting this crappy house on.
Yeah.
So it kind of didn't make sense, but she didn't really see that. She was just going to put a rental here, set it down, have a little money into it and rent it out. Makes sense for her. But the next guy, now that lot next door is going to be looking at an 1,800 square foot 1950s, 60s house.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's not good for the builder next door. So how do you kind of soften the plan and educate her that there's probably a better way to go about this given the asset that you have?
Well, it was more, I knew she wanted to be done with this. Like, ultimately, she was tired of dealing with the city. Mm-hmm. She has a lot of other rentals she has passive income from, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't need this one, right? She doesn't need one more rental. And so I just expressed the interest that I want to pick it up from here, meaning where you left off, let me run with it. Let me buy it from you. Let me go through the short plat, the entitlements, everything, and just, it can be off your plate, right?
Right.
And I think that was appealing to her because, again, she doesn't want to do it anymore, right? She wants to enjoy her life. And I don't think that is enjoyable for her any longer to do that sort of thing.
It's almost like an automatic thing. She got this house. Okay, where do I move it? Oh, I've got a vacant lot over here. I'll move it there. It's just automatic. Didn't really think it out. But now, time, I don't really want to mess with that anymore. Yeah.
And what was important about that is, so I negotiated, proposed to her a seller finance deal. So a note and deed of trust with a down payment and then payments on a note, right? And you may have to direct me a little bit here because I'm kind of going to go all over the place, right? But where I came up with my note amount payment was from a couple different ways. Is one, I said, okay, if you were to do this, right, you complete the short plat and you rent out your house. Let's just say your house is going to rent for around $3,800 to $4,000 a month, right? You back off taxes and insurance, maintenance. Let's just call it you're netting around $3,000 a month. That's where I came up with my note amount. I said, I want to net you the same amount of money that you would get if you kept this house, but you're just going to get the passive income now. You don't have to deal with the rental or anything like that, right? Excuse me. The other part of this is when we started working together, you looked at my portfolio and you saw a rental I own in Issaquah with a 7.5% interest rate, conventional, loan on it.
Collateralized by a first.
Yes. Yep.
On that house.
Yes.
Right.
With
can we get some water? Thanks. Yep.
With a mortgage company, right? Negative cash flow, but a decent amount of equity in the house. And what I love about this working with you is the way, the way you make me see things, right? It's like most people will go, okay, well, because I wanted to keep this property. It's a great piece of property and a really good location, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, most people and me at the time, well, what do I do? How do I get rid of this mortgage on it? Well, hopefully rates drop at some point, then I'll refinance and, hopefully, right? Well, no, what you're going to do is you're going to go buy more real estate.
Yeah, we're going to solve this refinance with an acquisition.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, who thinks like that?
Yeah.
It's awesome. So the goal was when we started working together is to take care of this Issaquah house, the 7.5% rate. So this bird flies in this lady with the short plat, and it just so happens that my rent I'm collecting on this is above $3,000 a month, right? On the Issaquah house. okay, now everything's set, right? My payment to her is $3,000. My Issaquah rent is $3,000. Mm-hmm. If somehow I can make the collateral for her note be the Issaquah property, where it's spinning off the cash flow.
And cash out the Issaquah loan that's currently there.
So, yeah, that's the other thing is, well, there's still a loan on it. So how do we do that, right? And so back to the negotiation, that's where I kind of came up with that $3,000 a month to her.
Right. Yeah, and this is, so let me back up and set the stage for what's coming, because most people, when they look at real estate, they look at a very linear picture of real estate. Like, here's a flat table, and the deal goes from here to here to here to here, one plane, one level, a very linear transaction from start to finish. Now I want you to insert a piece of plexiglass that's about 6 inches above the table, and insert another playing field.
Yeah.
And that playing field is a whole different level of reality, in this case, a whole nother property. And you've got this deal, but it's also sensitive to a plexiglass deal up here. And now they're running in tandem with two linear deals.
Yeah.
So now you're dealing in two-dimensional real estate. If you had 3 deals, 4 deals, all sensitive to one another, they track and they solve each other. And something from this board can switch to this board and vice versa. Right. It's almost like a tag team. Okay, now this just went like this, and then and so seeing multidimensionally is another definite objective in power players. Is we do something we call the 3-bird scenario, 3 different deals that are tracking the same way, and one is solving the other.
Exactly. Yep.
And that ability to just start seeing things multidimensionally is a skill set that has to be really, it's like a foreign language. It's hard, and all of a sudden you're fluent. You go, oh, I got it. I can do it now. It's very difficult at first to go, okay, how is this working?
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of intelligence.
No.
It's a matter of just somehow being able to visualize that, how they work in tandem.
wrap your brain around it, right? I remember asking you multiple times, okay, wait, so...
Can we go through this one more time?
This, yes. Okay, but wait, this...
Right. It is really a different way of... It's a different skill set. And it's so interesting to me because I remember, not that I don't think I ever went through this kind of thing with Newman, but I could feel myself like, how do I solve this? And even just letting my mind go there, I remember the first deal that I did this way, still wondering if was there something I was missing?
Right.
Like, can this really go this way?
Right.
And I'll tell you, I remember going to Glenn Barrett, who was the founder and original head guy at Pacific Northwest Escrow, who was in his 70s when I was just coming in. His son, Steve, took it most of my career, but Glenn was still there when I was there, referred by Newman.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
And I went and said, okay, I want to shut the door because you may think I'm going crazy. And if I am, just tell me, because I'm not sure if I'm not. But here's my thinking. And he goes, I see everything you're doing, and that could absolutely happen. And it's all about timing and all about the details of paperwork having to line up correctly. But absolutely, I don't see any reason why that can't work just perfectly.
Yeah.
And I went, and it still wasn't real.
Yeah.
Until it closed.
Right.
And I went, oh my God. And of course, when you can deal with 2 boards, I remember doing that same escrow once with 9 properties once in the same day. And man, you've got to have a team that you've educated, because arrows going everywhere and notes being split and all of the tools that we talk about in power players that come together. But once you can visualize two boards, somehow your brain can see it all. It's like, oh, wow, there's a world here. It's like going through the wardrobe, in the back of the wardrobe, and all of a sudden it's snowing and you're in a different world.
Right.
You go, Narnia, you go,
Yeah.
whoa,
Right.
what happened?
Right.
Okay, so that's like a precursor to that. If this confuses you, which don't feel you're the one off, because it really takes some wrapping your head around. I'm talking to the audience, okay? Because we're going to do our best to walk through this. But anyway.
I think it's explainable.
Yeah, I think it's explainable. Let's start with the completing the short plat. So walking through this deal, it definitely has two dimensions because we have this property in Issaquah that we have an objective with. Mm-hmm. It's a refinance of a 7.5% first, right? Mm-hmm. And we have this new acquisition here with several objectives of its own. Mm-hmm. So we have two boards now in our mind of how do we marry multiple objectives with this deal.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And this deal down here is about to be split into two lots.
Yeah.
Which also is a significant part of this in terms of how this plays out. So, okay, take it from there.
Okay. So we go into agreement, into contract. Mm-hmm. And, I have the builder that I'm going to be working with lined up. He's excited about the project. Mm-hmm. During that time, I've been communicating with this lady since April, and we're set to close in 2 days. Mm-hmm. So it's been, a few months, but I don't know if you remember during that time, the market kind of took a little bit of a lull, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with builders. So builders weren't paying as much for properties as they were, last year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course he recognized this and he came back to me and said, hey, I can't pay as much as I originally thought. Well, that impacts my contract with her, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had to go throughout this whole thing. I've had to go back to her probably 2 or 3 times, not just for price reductions, but one price reduction, right? And which she agreed to and she understood. But other details of the structuring of the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to kind of get into how it's laid out?
Yeah, start with the big price of both lots. First of all, we're taking over this short plat, meaning we're taking it over. You're taking over the short plat, but you're handing that to the new builder that he's actually the one. You're buying it. You're assigning it. He's actually the one responsible to take it through the short plat.
That's right. Okay, so
you're overseeing that because it needs to be done. But
yeah, the way I look at it is I'm in a partnership with this builder. I'm kind of pairing up with him, right? Like he's going to do the majority of the heavy lifting with the short plat because he knows how to do that.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. But I'm going to be there in the background, assisting where I can, doing whatever I can to help, learning, right? And so what we had originally came up with is, it was going to be a double escrow close. So the day I closed with her, which was going to be in a year from our original contract date, I was going to close with her and then close with the builder.
The same day.
And meanwhile, during this year, I'm still helping the builder. I'm assisting him. I'm still very much a part of this, which I feel good about. And I was going to use pass-through funding, right? I was going to use the builder's funds to fund mine, then he closes. Pass-through funding, as I've come to find out, is really hard to get any LPO escrow closer to agree to.
Sure.
And so I went out to attorneys and still pretty hard. And the one quote I got was just a little too much for me to swallow. So then I thought, okay, so what am I going to do here? Well, I have to close on it myself, right? And
which people should recognize in a sense that immediately says, okay, well, if you close, but then your builder downstream from that doesn't close, now what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're thinking of that.
Yes.
Or if you close and the short plat doesn't get completed and done properly, then now what? All this now what stuff.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how you should think. Like
Right.
you build in the if this, then this. And that's really a lot what deal structuring is about, is that if you feel comfortable with the if this, then this, and if everybody can come to agreement on that, then you can move forward. That
Right.
We've covered the obvious risks with a solution.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep. And so our second agreement, what we agreed to is the purchase price ended up being 1.8 for this lot.
For the whole big lot.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep. 1.8. And we agreed to $1 million down, $800,000 on a note.
That's the first agreement.
Well, the second agreement, because the original one was 1.9.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Then the
yeah.
price reduction,
Price reduction,
$1.8 million
yeah.
that way. Okay.
And so we're doing that, and now I need to close on this, right? I don't have $1 million to put down, right? So I'm going to use some sort of loan, private money, from people that I know, right? Sorry. So we get that all set, right? And I go, okay, I got my contract. Here it is. Let's get you in contract now, builder, and so you can start doing all your entitlements and whatever you need to do through this process. Well, his attorney gets back to us and says, I don't feel comfortable having you do all this work without me actually owning it, right? It'd be different if he was buying it directly from her. She still owns it. That's what builders do all the time. Like I said earlier, they do all that work before they actually close on it. But I'm kind of like the middle person now. So where do I fit in, right? I remember coming to you and going,
right. The attorney says we can't do this until I own it.
Yeah. What do I do with this? And you made me think about it in a different way, which was great because it's the way I explained it to her, and it makes sense, right? It's the same exact deal structure. Not the same exact deal structure. It's the same exact outcome. It's just a different road to get there. So originally, with the second agreement, at the satisfaction of feasibility, she was going to get $50,000 non-refundable earnest money. And, sorry. And then she would close in a year and get cashed out, the $1 million down, then accrual of interest starts and the note starts, right?
Right. So you're buying from her essentially at the end of the road, the way you're buying it from her at $1.8 million is essentially she's going to get $1 million down and then $800,000 on a note whose collateral for that note is the first position on your Issaquah property.
Yeah.
Now, how do we get rid of the loan that's on there? Let's just call it roughly 6 that's on there. 5. Yeah, 5. Yep. Okay. How do we get rid of that loan that's on there? Well, now this is where the builder is paying a higher price than 1.8, all cash at closing. So his cash that comes in has to satisfy the $1 million obligation to her and pay off the $500 that you owe on Issaquah to replace it with an $800,000 note with her.
Yep.
That's where we're going with
That's where we're going, yeah.
That's where we're going. And maybe we'll start there and then we'll kind of weave back in. The solution to the you've got to close it now because, you've got her agreeing to take $1 million down and 800 on a note. So the simple solution was to simply change the down into one note for the down, and then the 800 note on a separate note. So 2 notes closing the transaction with the earnest money solved. Right.
Yes. So the way we did that was I approached her. I said, instead of closing in a year, I want to close with you in 45 days. That way, and if you think about it, it's a safer bet for her, right? Like, I now own this in 45 days. She doesn't have to, if something goes wrong with the short plat, like it's off her plate now, right? It's on me and the builder to figure this out.
Right.
I said, but I want to still pay you in a year, right? So that's where everything's the same. We're just closing now, paying you in a year. So what that looks like is no interest and no payments on both notes for a year. I said, you were getting $50,000 non-refundable earnest money. How about I give you a $70,000 down payment, which I'll collect $70,000 non-refundable from the builder when he satisfies feasibility. And so that leaves $930 on one note. That's due in full and payable in a year. And that leaves $800 on the second note, right?
Right.
And she agreed to it.
And think about that from your perspective. The other way, as you said you could do, is, okay, somehow I'm going to line up somebody else with money to give me the $1 million now to buy it, give her $1 million right now, right? And then, of course, you'd be paying interest and points on that $1 million that you just borrowed for a year. And here, you just borrowed it essentially from the seller, but there's no points, there's no interest for a year.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Much better way to go from your perspective. Solves her. She doesn't need the cash right now.
Right.
And you now own it. Therefore, now you can absolutely sell it to the builder, go under contract to sell it because they know you are the one that owns it. So that solved the attorney pushback to say, we don't know that you own it yet, so how do we contract with you?
Yeah.
We've done that. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And so,
okay, march now toward closing. We have a no interest note with her for $930. You've paid 70 down. You've collected 70. Got no interest, no payments on this $970 note. You've got another $800,000 note that at closing, the initial collateral for that is a first deed of trust on the Issaquah house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And so I'm selling the property to the builder for 1.95.
Okay.
And
you paid 1.8, so it's 1.95.
And in my eyes, that makes sense. The property is going to be worth a lot more. You know, I have time into it. I'm going to be assisting him through this project. And so at the end of the day, the way you break it down is you have 1.95 coming in, right? You're going to take 930 away from that. So you're left with $1,020,000. And then I have this money over here. The seller has paid her 930. She gets her lump sum. $1,020,000 left. Well, now I have to take care of Issaquah mortgage, $500,000. I pay off the Issaquah mortgage with the remaining. Now what's left is roughly $520,000. You know, you take the earnest money out, right? And then you take all the closing fees out, you know, and hopefully be walking away with somewhere in the range of $400,000 to deploy to the next scalable asset.
So you've got your two things going on. You've got your assignment fee, which if you think about the difference between what you've sold it and what you bought it for, somewhere in the nature of $150. But then you're creating an $800,000 note on this Issaquah property and cashing out a $500,000 note.
Yeah.
So the difference there is borrowed money of $300,000. Mm-hmm. And what's the interest rate on that note?
4.5% interest only.
So you've got $300,000 at 4.5% over and above what you needed to cash out your amortized payment at 7.5%. So the payment on $800,000 at 4.5 is less than the payment on $500,000 at 7.5 amortized.
Right.
So you've reduced your cash flow outgo. Mm-hmm. You've improved your positive cash flow in Issaquah.
Right.
300,000 is borrowed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. 150 is assignment fee. That's sort of like, I call it cash and prizes. Double benefit there in this closing. Mm-hmm. 300 of it borrowed at 4.5, leveraging an asset that you have that's well over $1 million of value in the asset. Mm-hmm. Okay. More positive cash flow. Long-term note. How long-term is this note?
20 years.
20-year note, 4.5%, 20-year. You'll never have to think about that again. It's interest only or more.
Yep.
It has a slice and dice clause. It has a first right of refusal clause. It has a substitution of security clause. It has all of the lettuce and tomatoes on that new $800,000 note.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So now we've got, call that cash and prizes. We're at 450, right? Cash and prizes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then the builder closes and he's got 2 lots. Okay, now he already knows what he's going to build on both lots. So what is the market value of the 2 houses he's going to build there?
3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Yeah.
So we've got $6 million worth of real estate that's going to come on the market. And you, of course, have the listing of those 2 properties.
Yeah.
So another roughly $180,000 of commissions there. Add that to the cash and prizes list. Right. So now we're up to like $680,000 of cash and prizes to a property that you've technically owned for a year, right? Without any debt service. Almost like an option on a property.
Right.
But it was an ownership with no interest, no payments.
Right.
You know, let's just assume that our audience could, I know there's power players that could track every minute of that, but let's assume that all that does is wonderfully confuse people. I got to tell you that this is the power of the toolbox, both left and right brain being played out. Yeah. I mean, most people can't imagine doing a deal that somehow $600,000 or $700,000 of money is coming out of that for their use. And of course, some of it's borrowed. But wow, go ahead, go out there right now and get an $800,000 loan at 4.5%. Interest only or more due in 20 years with all the lettuce and tomatoes. People would say that loan doesn't exist.
Right.
Oh, it does exist. I literally see it every day of my life between the deals I do and the many deals that students do.
Right.
It's every day of my life.
Right.
And I think, you know, when you get a handle of how these all work, this is the kind of horsepower that real estate has.
Yeah.
And let's look at it from the lady's perspective.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about remainder beneficiaries on the note.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is she right now?
She's near 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
Almost 80. Well, 20-year note. Why would somebody 80 say, sure, pay me for 20 years?
Right.
I mean, people go, this is getting out of your own way. Why would anybody do that?
Right.
And all I'm thinking to myself is, why wouldn't they do it?
Right.
She has all her financial needs met.
Yep.
She doesn't want to die and say, here, kid, here's $800,000.
Yeah.
That would mess up a kid.
Right.
But here, kid, here's a monthly income
Yeah.
for a long time.
$3,000 a month.
Right.
I mean, that's a nice income.
Right. Nobody's going to starve.
Right.
And yet they're not going to get a hold of it anytime soon.
Right.
Or if you didn't have kids, it's a cause that you want to perpetuate and pay their light bills and overhead to keep this cause doing their thing for 20 years on you. And then ultimately, here comes this principal to pay off their cause building or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I talked to her about that too. Do you have any organizations or charities that you believe in, you know?
Right.
Because people don't think about that. That's another perfect option as a remainder beneficiary.
Yeah. Think about what your mom has been involved in, estate planning. A lot of times when you're dealing with older people, you're not just buying their real estate, you're helping them plan their legacy,
right?
Their mark.
Why would someone do this, right? And I think there's a couple different things at play. You touched on one, right? You can leave something, a steady income stream to your kids, your grandkids, whoever, right? There, of course, there's the capital gains tax benefits of an installment sale. But this lady has been so patient with me, right? This has been a huge learning curve for me putting this deal together. I think there are people out there that, I had one of my friends say, why would she do that? Doesn't she know she can collect more in the stock market or whatever, right, is the reason. But there are people out there that in the later years of their life, they've done well. They almost get a fulfillment of passing it down to the younger generation, right?
No question.
They just do.
They see in you what they were in them when they were in their whatever age. 30,
and I think
40.
that's part of what is happening between me and this lady. Is she gets some sort of fulfillment, and like I said, she's been super, super patient. She could have walked a couple times and said, you're taking too long.
Yeah.
But she believed in me, and I think she wants to see it through, right? So
well, think about it this way: the value, the $1.8 million is that you offered her is a real number of value with the short plat completed. Okay. You've agreed to do that. You've subbed out the agreement to do that to the builder, essentially, in the assignment. But you're taking it from there. She'd messed with it for 3 years. Is that really what she wants to do for the next 3 years of her life, is go battle the city with technology, with all the stuff, and it's just... It's almost like being, I'm taking a crazy diversion here, but I'm telling you, I went through it, that, being a senior, trying to navigate our medical system right now, they just can't do it.
Yeah.
They don't have an advocate. It's too high tech for them. They just, go on our website and this, they go, what? I don't have a computer. I don't, and they feel really stuck.
Right.
Well, she doesn't want to go bang her head against the wall for another 3 years. So what she can think to herself is, that piece of land, it's in good hands with Chris.
Right.
He's got it. It's off my list.
Right.
I don't really need the money right now. I just need to know it's taken care of.
Right.
I need to know somebody's on it and they've got it. And wow, look at this smart, honest young man that's got it. I've won the lottery. That I'm in good hands. And here's how it's going to go in simple English. We're going to close this. I'm going to get this much then, and this much an income stream. And then these people, when I die, will get it. And they're with Chris. You see, it's simple. I've got it. I've got my teeth around it.
Right.
As complex as this deal can look, the version that that is really, when you boil it down, it's I get a pile of money when this closes. I get this much in the form of an income stream as if I had it in the bank, which it's a lot better than I could get in the bank in simple terms. I don't want to be a day trader.
Right,
I don't want to watch the stock market every minute. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. I want to do other things. I'm in good hands.
Right.
And she is in good hands. My God, an honest, smart young man that's in charge of this. Are you kidding me? It's everything she could wish for. And I've dealt with so many people who it's not about the money. It's about, I want to get from here to here.
Yeah.
And if you are competent and able to deal with oh my God, let's just go right down the list.
Yeah.
She has other properties. I guarantee you'll wrap this up. She's going to call you and say, okay, here's my next problem. Here's where it's at. Can you take it over?
Yeah.
This is Larry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything he owned, one after the other, after the other, after the other.
Right.
And so I've seen it. I've lived it.
Right.
But I think it's so interesting that part of this isn't, I'm not tooting a horn about a class, but definite objective of power players is, okay, it's that Mark Twain. It's not what you think you know that's the problem. It's what you think you know for sure that just ain't right. That's the problem. In other words, getting out of your own way to say, this is why someone would do that versus this mindset. No one would ever do that.
Right.
Who would ever do that? Well, that even that tone means you don't believe this can happen. A, somehow you believe it's not right if it could happen. B, what if you changed your thinking on those two things sincerely and processed a different possibility? What doors does that open?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's getting out of your own way.
Right.
Because all the toolbox in the world isn't going to help somebody if they simply don't believe in that it can happen, that it's right to happen. When you change your thinking, doors open up. Mm-hmm. When you change your mind and you change what's possible, when you walk through that door, all of a sudden, when it's real and you really now know it because you've done it, I've seen. It's just like an aircraft taking off. It just goes like this, and okay, it's building, and all of a sudden something closes, and then it just goes vertical. It's like it turns you into a rocket ship. I've watched portfolios go from half a dozen properties, and then the progression of thought and belief, and then all of a sudden it goes from there to 50 properties, just like it seems like overnight.
You're right.
Because it's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. They see it.
Right. Well, it's part of the belief system is, in order for me to believe something, like, I believe I'm helping this person.
Yes.
Right. I really do. Like,
yes.
For all those reasons we listed, like the passive income, the capital gains, benefits.
Yes.
It's not me just going into this lady saying, this is what I want.
Right.
Because it benefits me.
For me. Right.
No, it very much benefits her too.
It does.
And her family.
I think even more so than anybody can, if you have aging parents, who do you want for them? You want an advocate.
Right.
You want somebody that's going to be young blood and competent to help their life. Mm-hmm. And that's what they need. And that's what they want.
Right. Badly.
Yeah. Fighting with the city for the next 3 years. That's not what they want to do. Yeah. So I really love that perspective, Chris, and it's why I think you're just one of the greatest out there. I had some people that say, hey, you can't find a lot in Bellevue to build on anymore. I heard that a couple weeks ago. And I said, really? Do you really think that? Oh yeah, there's just, even the teardowns, you just can't find them. And I go, I want you to call Chris Archer. He lives in Bellevue. He's a firefighter in Bellevue. and he finds amazing dirt for people to build amazing homes. So it's not that you might not be able to do it, but he's doing it. Maybe you should hook up with him. It's so fun to just go, well, why can somebody do it and you can't?
Sure. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, I think that this is awesome. I want you to circle this back around. We talk about these deals. We talk about all of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Why work so hard? You've already got a day job, right? You work really hard at that. Why not just take some time off? Why this next layer of press, of learning, of growth, of why? Why do you work so hard?
I mean, a few different reasons, right? I lived the life for a while of a firefighter, going to the shift and coming home and doing whatever, right? And I always had the desire to do something else with my time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember talking to my wife before I was even considering real estate. Oh, maybe I'll go push shopping carts at the local grocery store to make some extra bucks, right? My mind was all over the place. What am I going to do, right?
Right.
So I think there's a desire or a drive that I have to utilize my time rather than just doing whatever. Right. And that works for some people, and that's no judgment. That's fine. Another reason is, I'm very much, I want to be able to take care of my family. It's super important to me. Like I have a deep sense of obligation to take care of my wife and my 2 kids. And that even extends to my parents and my in-laws as they age. And there would be no greater reward to help out with, if my parents or my in-laws are facing a challenge as they age financially, to be able to step in and go, you guys have given so much to us, let me take it from here. Right? I think that would feel so amazing. So there's that part of it too, right?
Yeah.
The other part of it is, I think what a lot of people get into this is the freedom, right? I want to be able to retire from the fire department when I'm 53. That's when I'm eligible to take my pension without penalty. And no, it's been a great career, but now I can not get woken up in the middle of the night. So those reasons, right?
Yeah. Not to mention woken up in the middle of the night and at times putting your own life on the line. That's a different. It's kind of second maybe to the military contract. We agree to die for our country and go to places where people shoot at you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's not like nobody shoots at you working at Microsoft, at least not with bullets.
Right.
Same thing with firefighting. It's like it's a level of personal risk that risks a lot to go be a first responder at a disaster, a fire, something.
Yeah.
So maybe stepping away from the front lines a little bit and go, okay, that was awesome. I did that, but now I'm gonna try to stay a little safer. I don't know, but I think that it's your why. You're very in touch with your why, and to me, I always look at when anything is hard, Chris. This is not easy stuff to know. It's not. You really got to lean in. You really got to want to know it and really apply it. But when your why is clear, then you do the hard work.
Yeah.
It becomes your sustainable motivation to press. If you don't have a why press?
Yeah. Right.
So I think that's really an important part of this. And you've got this great bride and great family. And of course, they're watching you. Those kids are watching you too.
And well, that's I guess that would be another why is now I'm learning this separate skill set, right? Of the real estate world. And my daughter has recently, because she's grasping how much houses are nowadays, right? And she's like, how am I ever going to be able to afford to buy a house? Now I have the skill set. And what a great reward is when they're young adults to be able to maybe take them under my wing and go, okay, let's go create something here. Right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a big deal when one of your kids buys their house and they know how.
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully they get on a note.
Yeah. They know how.
Yeah.
Because I hear it all the time. I heard a statistic recently that it was beyond disturbing, but it was a statistic of how many adults over 30 still live with their parents. What percentage? And I can't give you the number. That we could ask Siri right now, and then she'd probably give us some stat. But I heard it, and I kind of went, what?
Sure.
You know, I couldn't imagine. I didn't have the option, but even if I did, I couldn't imagine.
Right.
It just, that idea that no, I'm gonna, and yet one of the biggest reasons is like, well, where am I going to go? How do I afford it? How do I ever buy a house? How does some young 20-something-year-old ever buy a house? And I've had people flat out tell me they can't. That's the problem, is they can't, and therefore they have to live here. And I said, no. I mean, if you want them there and they want to be there, I'm not going to get in that conversation. But I have lots of 20-year-olds that don't live at home. Matter of fact, they have their own home. They have lots of other homes that they own, and nobody's giving them 5 cents to do it either, right? So don't say it can't be done. It's just they don't know how.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things it's not making any announcements, but I can tell you one of the things I've been pressed on in my, let's call my twilight years. Am I in twilight years?
No, you're not. Don't say that.
But to do is to have a separate power players for kids that are 12 to 18.
That would be really cool.
Because I've got all these power players that want their kids to experience power players. Man, if I knew this stuff when I was 13, 14 and rolled right into being an adult, knowing this stuff, oh my God, I said, well, and then they call and say, would you do this? Would you think of doing this? And it's rattling around in there because, God, we all can look back and go, if I had known this then,
that would be amazing
about something.
That'd be really cool.
So yeah, it's and I do know it's possible.
Yeah.
I have power players that have taken power players at 16, and by the time they take it again, which they want to take it again when they're 18, they're worth $3 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know that you can go in title as the owner of property as a minor if the property's free and clear?
Oh, really? Oh.
You can actually be entitled. Other states, you have to put it in an LLC and have a minority interest, but you can have a minority interest in an LLC at 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so they just find a way to contract to own the property.
Right.
And yeah, a couple of them, by the time they're 18, they're multimillionaires.
Wow.
And I say, well, that's not that big a deal. It's just because they didn't have to get out of their own way.
Right.
You see, there wasn't all this work that you put in to say, well, I know you believe that, but it's just not true. So we got to undo that thinking and install new thinking.
Yep.
That's hard.
Oh, yeah.
Really hard.
Yep.
But if you're wonderfully naive and don't have any bad thoughts when you're 16,
right.
I saw that when I taught at the university. All these 18-year-old kids didn't have any bad habits.
Right.
They're ready to go. Show us how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, go do this 100 times. They go, I'll do it 500 times.
Yeah.
I got energy.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they start buying real estate. They own it.
Yeah.
They know how to build.
Right. It's great.
Some of the Northwest's largest property owners and owners of the biggest real estate companies were my students when they were 18 years old. I'm not joking.
That's amazing.
The biggest residential brokerage, the biggest commercial brokerage.
Wow.
Whatcom County's biggest property owner. The
Right.
kid was 18 years old when he took my class. You know, they didn't have to get out of their own way.
Right.
So there's a lot to be said with that.
Well, that's still a constant battle, right?
It is.
As adults, is getting out of our own way. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
just every day.
Every day.
Every day.
The battle of the anti-you that says,
Yes.
no, just no, don't question that. Just stay here.
Right.
You know, it really is an effort to break through. But when you do, wow. Chris, this has been awesome. And I really do believe that if at the very least this structure, because it's real, if you don't understand this, there's two different ways. One, you go, this is really confusing and too hard. I don't get it. Mm-hmm. And of course, the anti-you's goal is just keep you in sameness. So he'll encourage you to do nothing with that. Just let it go.
Yeah.
But the real you, that voice inside that says, grow. Mm-hmm. You can do this. Go learn and be better. That's that voice you heard. And you've been on it ever since. And so I just love that there's that possibility of that out there. Yeah. How do people get a hold of you? Because if they listen to this and they want to like connect directly, you're going to have to tell them how.
No problem.
Okay.
I'm not big on social media. I kind of avoid it. I'll just give my phone number and my email address.
Beautiful.
So 425-765-4498 is the phone number. That's my cell. Mm-hmm. And then I usually just use my KW email. So chris.archer@kw.com.
chris.archer@kw.com.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Buddy, this has been fantastic. This hangar is not on the way to anything. And so, well, that might not be true, but not on the way to most anything anybody goes to. Yeah. So thank you for making the effort in being here.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. Until
fun.
Next time, Pinneo, over and out.